My dear fellow listeners and viewers, good evening once again and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Narine Dat Show. For those of you rather who have watched us and listened to us in the past, who know that there are a few different ways to listen to us. You can listen to us in the regular dial, that's the radio 102.7 CKMS FM. You can listen to us on Rogers digital cable for those of you who have the Rogers digital box, and of course, we are also live stream our interview here. So by all means, please take the opportunity to share a page. The whole idea behind the Dr. Narine Dat Show is to create a safe space for positive energy and mutual respect. And tonight will be just that because we have a very brilliant, knowledgeable guest, Dr. Chadee. So welcome to the show. How are you doing this evening?
Namaste, namaskar, Jai Sitaram, Ram Ram, and happy Sunday to everybody. I'm fantastic, so thank you for having me.
All right, so we are so glad that we have you on here. So you know the drill. You've seen the show in the past. So what we'll do, we'll get you to introduce yourself so that folks get to know you. Many people know you, but just in case if we have, a handful of people watching and they don't know you, at least they will have, an opportunity to get to know you a little bit more. So take it away, introduce yourself when you're done, and you have some specific questions for you, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, first of all, Doc, thank you very much again. As I say, I keep up the good work, and yes, I have been watching some of your shows when schedule permits, and I guess tonight is my turn, as you've asked me since last year. But the life of a priest, what happens? So it's it's a runaway kind of a schedule. But by the grace of the Lord, we're here tonight. So for those who know me, I just shared this live feed on my Facebook page, Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee, as well as the Hanuman Mission page, as well as World Hanuman Council. 3 pages for those who are my friends or the followers. They can also share it and help spread the word, as Dr. Narine Dat says, for a safe space within our community. So for those who know me, it's Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee. And for those who don't know me, Namaste, Namaskar, Jai Sitaram, as I said again, to start off this Sunday. My name is Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee, and I'm the spiritual leader and the founder of the Hanuman Mission here in Canada and the Hanuman Mission of Trinidad and Tobago Incorporated. It's 2 separate entities in 2 countries. And I started the Hanuman Mission 23 years ago. This year will be 24 on my 40th birthday. And by calculation, Doc, that puts me in 64 in 2 months, 3 months by April the 9th. So there we go, getting up to the senior age. But my wife, Merle, I have 2 children, Dr. Avish Chadee, my son, and R.T. Chadee, both of them here in Ajax with us. And we do what we can under the banner of the Hanuman Mission. As you know, we have received some mutual awards together for community service, humanitarian work, etc. And I think through that volunteerism is how we got connected. But specifically for me, I have a PhD in Human and Social Services. I have a Doctor of Letters degree from Swami Vivekananda Yoga University in Bangalore, India. And I had written a 121-page thesis for my work on humanitarianism and humanism for the work that I do. By virtue of seeing my logo here, Hanuman Mission, I proudly wear that. It's a logo that was created to show a new beginning, a new dawn, so to speak. My wife, myself, and the printer combined that, and I proudly wear the logo of Hanuman Mission wherever I go around the world. About myself, on one hand, I'm a Hindu priest. The other hand, I'm a marriage officiant. And the other hand, I'm a commissioner of votes and affidavit here in Trinidad and as well in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm a marriage officiant, marriage officer here in Canada, in USA, special license in New York, and in Trinidad and Tobago, marriage officer in 3 countries. And I said on my TV program yesterday, I could probably go to Guyana, not probably, I could go to Guyana and do a Hindu wedding, but I can't register anybody legally because I don't have a license yet. So maybe somebody who's watching can probably arrange that for me in Guyana as well. But other than that, Doc, I think as a community person, humanitarianism, Hindu priest, and I do work for the Ontario government to pay my bills. And live here in Ajax with my family.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction, by the way. Nicely put together there. I like how you highlight, bits and pieces, and we'll dive into it. But before we get into any of that, obviously you were not born and raised in Canada here. You were born and raised in Trinidad. So if you don't mind, take me back to your journey in Trinidad. What was life like for you growing up in Trinidad prior to you migrated to Canada?
So we can backtrack it. 24th of November, 1984, which made me 41 years last November while I was in India. Made me 41 years in Canada. I came to Canada when I was 22 and a half years, so we can start there. November 24th, 1984. And blessings to my sister Sandra and my brother-in-law Krish, the late Krish Mangru, and the late Mr. Ramsaran Mangru, my brother-in-law's dad, who started that migration journey for all of us. As you know, you're Guyanese, I'm Trini. And somebody somewhere along the line starts that process and everybody starts bringing another one and another family, etc. So I left Trinidad with the intention of coming here to study, like most of us, and we never go back or we still study. Two situations apply to me. I never went back and I'm still studying because I just finished a week ago a crystal healing program with an international group of students. So studying never finishes for me. But back in Trinidad, I'm from a small village, South Trinidad, called Faizabad. And most of the trainees might know that. A lot of Guyanese people, my friends who I do Jandy for, etc., a lot of them know San Fernando. Faizabad is a little bit south of that, south of the creek, south of Mosquito Creek, south of Gulf City, etc. And from the average family, like you would know, average Trini Guyanese family, I don't know if we term it middle class, but both my parents have now moved on. Deceased this year, it will be 13 years for my father, the late Bisna Chadee, and 10th year death anniversary for my mom, Polly Chadee, September and October, respectively. I got an education at a primary school. Back then, we used to call it CM, Canadian Missionary. Then I went to an Anglican school. We had what we call Common Entrance Exam. Then the CXC exam was introduced. I worked for a company called Industrial Gases, or IGL, for 4.5 years. And I wanted to improve my life and get a better education. So I moved to Canada and studied here for 3 years. Went to Atlanta, Georgia, DeVry Institute at the time. It was an American organization, Bell and Howell. And I was able to do my Bachelor of Electronics Engineering Technology from DeVry. Got my bachelor's there. And then eventually got married to my wife, Merle. And eventually we had Archie and Avish. And the journey eventually continues. So from Trinidad, I was in a Hindu family. And we're from deep south, and as we would say, Guyanese will probably say back down, Trinidad would say from the bush. So that's basically where I was, from the country, village life, so to speak. But credit to my parents, as most parents, we got an average life. We made do with what we had to do, and we improvise, and we develop. And we try to, in the later days, through migration, through working in Trinidad, and subsequently migrating, we try to make a better life for ourselves. Improve on what we got from our parents, as every child should or would. And B, make it better for our children as the first generation Canadian, as you would know, and I would know, because our children are born here. So we do not want to give them the struggles that we had to face or our parents had to face. And that's a natural phenomenon for all of the community people I deal with. And Trinidad was a good life, like anything else. But eventually, divine intervention steps in, and the Lord takes you where He has to take you. And being a Hindu priest, I believe in one word, karma. And karma is your destiny in English. And wherever that is prescribed already, we have no escape. So one-way tunnel, forward vision, and you just keep going with the flow, as we say. And 41.5 years later, this year, 41, going to 42, I'm here in Canada now. And I must say, the roots built in Trinidad is what gave me the foundation here in Canada to do what I'm doing. As you know, we're both in community life and humanitarian life and, charitable work and all that. So even though my life, 41 years, which is double the life I had in Trinidad, or 22, if we didn't have that foundation and that background, we could never develop what we develop and make that module or mole, as we say, in Canada. So that's sort of the journey. And then obviously a master's in Hinduism from Florida Hindu University and a Doctor of Letters from India. And charity life continues, as you know. The Hanuman Mission, my background, you'll see flagship project that we do and all that.
Good.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Oh yes, oh no, oh yeah, definitely. I just want to make sure I give you enough time and space for that, so you've done that really well. So let's get into this whole Panditai thing. So obviously you are a Hindu priest, as you mentioned, and many people are aware of that. How that came about? Was that something you wanted to do as a child growing up, or did you come from a family background where you have uncles and grandparents and whatnot who did the same line of work?
So no, 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 and no.
Hmm.
And then there's two yeses. The first answer, no, I didn't plan this. Second answer is no, I'm not from a Pandit family
Hmm.
or priest family.
Hmm. Hmm.
Third, I didn't envision that. And fourth, if you ask my wife, she said she never married a Pandit. So those are the four things. The answer is no.
Hmm.
Yes, I always knew
Hmm.
in my head
Hmm.
through divine intervention from a very little kid that I will be down this path,
Hmm.
true spiritually. I always know that from a little boy. And yes, the second yes is that I knew that I will make a difference to the world my way. In other words, my way meaning through divine intervention, through divine guidance, I knew when the time was right, I will do what I have to do because I always saw myself from a little kid in the countryside, as I said, always embracing religion, always embracing spirituality, but most of all, always embracing humanitarianism. I believe, and my model that I created under the banner of the Hanuman Mission was humanitarian first. You cannot pray to an hungry crowd or a dying crowd or a crowd who is sick or a crowd who is thirsty. None of us, no priest can do that. You will only have the tolerance for so long and then you lose everybody. We need to help society first. We need to help humanity second, and we need to help make this world, as you used the word before, a safe space. There are many people who are not fortunate as us meaning you, me, and many others who are looking on to me. And Doc, it's not that we are better than anybody or we're more important than anybody. It's just that we will have a little more blessing or a little more opportunity or a little more divine intervention that we're able to move on and make a difference, create that niche, and to do what we have to do. So, in all of that, the third yes, which I didn't tell you, is now that I was able to make this a reality on my 40th birthday, my life went into that direction. So everything that I didn't do, or everything that I refused to do, or everything that I didn't come from, I created my own tunnel at the age of 40. And that was my gift to my birthday, 40th birthday. And that's when Hanuman Mission was born. And 10 years later, I went to India and I got ordained and I took the title Mahantji instead of Pandit. And that is how I carry the title Mahantji from Varanasi, Kashi, or Banaras. And that's where we are today, 13 years later, 14 years.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. So let's talk a little bit about your thesis because I think that is very unique. Because it goes to show that it's aligned with the things you do, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so tell us about that because I mean when people do, thesis, sometimes they struggle to choose a topic because, it's hard to narrow things down and whatnot. Yours aligned perfectly because you've seen a gap and you've definitely closed that gap. So tell us about that because I think it's very unique and very different.
So thanks for pointing that out. Yes, it is unique. So the sign you see behind me on my background says Shankarai Hospital. And that's a hospital in Bangalore, India, where for 5 years we have donated annually for Hanuman Jayanti as a milestone project that I gave myself just before COVID started. Shankarai Hospital, Doc, is a unique eye foundation or eye institute that's around India, 12 states. And you could sponsor eye surgery for $40 Canadian or $30 US. Through Hanuman Mission, we started in the year 2019. So the picture you're seeing there is when I actually was going to India for the first time. And with
Mhm.
that year, in 2019, we donated 200 eye surgeries. I got people through Facebook, and that's how I do the project every year. Hanuman Jayanti this year is April the 1st, and the plan again is to do another 700 eye surgery sponsorship. So on my plan to go to India, when I did my Master's of Hindu Studies from Hindu University of America, which is in Orlando, one of the professors was Dr. Sridhar Merakoti, and he's from Bangalore. And he went back to India. I did 3 or 4 courses with him while he was at the university. And somehow I started searching and I found him. And he was at the, what we call SVyasa, Swami Vivekananda Yoga University. I got in contact with him and said, Doc, I'm coming to India. I'm going to Shankarai Hospital. I'm coming to South India, Bangalore for the first time, etc. And he said, well, you must come and make a presentation to the university. I will arrange with the board, etc. So I went in there, and the same day you see that photo, he arranged a half an hour presentation with the board of directors and the chancellor of Shankarai, not Shankarai, sorry, SVyasa, Swami Vivekananda Yoga University, for me to make a presentation on Hanuman Mission. The whole concept about that, without the thesis wasn't part of that meeting yet. The whole premise was, how come people, and that was the phrase, how come you people from the Caribbean, Guyana, Trinidad, Fiji, Mauritius, etc., outside of India, how come you people are so devoted, so knowledgeable? How come you embrace the culture, the heritage, and the religion more than people from India?
Yeah.
And your Guyanese have a Trini. Sri Hanumanji is number 1 deity for all of us. You know that, I know that, and we all know that. Every Jandi is a Hanumanji Jandi, right? And they were baffled by the fact that I was able to start a Hanuman mission serving humanity, born in Trinidad, grew up in Canada, and coming to India with a mission I have no clue about. That baffled the entire board. They had about 15 people in the board, including the chancellor. And the half an hour meeting went to about an hour and 10 minutes. It became an interview after I did a presentation. And then they said, well, you should document this for us. We need you to write a thesis. And I said, well, I have X amount of documented work I'm doing already. And they asked me to do a thesis. But the thesis was pointed to me telling my life story on how, as you started this interview, where my roots was, how it developed into what I am today, how I became in a spiritual life, how I motivated myself to lift that barrier and create Hanuman Mission, and how eventually I created a model of Hanuman Mission to turn it into a framework of humanitarianism and humanism and Hanumanism, which is a word I coined, the study and the practice of Hanuman. And I said, okay, they gave me the guidance, they gave me the topic, and they gave me the chapters, how many I'm supposed. They told me they want a 100-page thesis. And I said, no, I don't do anything with 100. I will give you 121 page, because everything I do is 11 by 11 or a multiple of 11, right? I know you're a maths guy from your own thesis, so I know you understand numerology as well, right? So I said, okay, 121 pages. They agreed. We had, I think, 7 or 8 chapters. It went through 3 reviews with the primary thesis coordinator. And then eventually I was told to submit. It went through a PhD panel. It went through an internal review in SVyasa. And then it was external to external PhD review panel outside. And there were 5 people running in the race to be awarded a Doctor of Letters degree for that thesis, for a thesis, I should say. And it was given to me over the other 4 people. And I joined the ranks at that point of Dr. David Frawley and a few others. One of the main astrologers in India got it. One of the main Sanskrit scholars got it. Dr. Deepak Chopra got it. And I was number 5. So those are the type of names of people. Not that I'm anywhere close to the importance of any of them, but that's a rank of people who whose experience and knowledge were valued for this thesis. So it was strictly about my journey. So basically, exactly what sort of you asked me, that was documented in the thesis, and how I converted Hanuman Mission as a religious entity into a humanitarian entity serving globally. And that's what the thesis was about.
Excellent. Thank you. So is it published at all? Is it like published?
No. So what they were going to do, what they told me is that once I submitted, as you know, once you submit a thesis, you lose all rights to that thesis, because now you submit for evaluation. After this has been evaluated, it becomes obviously the property of the university because they award you that doctorate degree through that. They were going to publish a book. And when I went back to India in November, I went to Jain University with the same professor who is now in a senior role at Jain University. And I did a presentation at Jain University as well. And he said he's going to follow up because they were supposed to publish that thesis in a book through the university. So I think that's still in the works. Eventually it will be out in a book.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. So maybe different universities different and different agreement is different. I have full copyright to mine, just so you know. Anyways, that's beyond the point. I just thought I asked because it's good information. It's a good thesis to be out there so that people can have
Yes.
access to it, right? Especially if
Yes.
they're researching for something along that line.
There's been no shortfall of requests. There have been no shortfall of requests to get that thesis, but I said, listen, I submitted version A to the university. It has been reviewed and went through their iterations. And based on my submission, I handed the rights to the university.
Okay. And that's okay. But hopefully they get it out there because that's
Yes.
the key thing, right? When somebody do, any sort of research and so forth, if we're not getting, the findings out that, out there,
Yes.
then we don't get the full impact of it, right? It gives you that satisfaction, of course, that you've completed that, but it's nice if they can get it out there. So thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Hopefully, it is published somewhere or will be published somewhere.
It will be published somewhere, I think, in a book form.
Yeah, there you go. That's okay. And so, yeah, so those things you have to be very careful, mindful of as well too, because the way I say it, it's your unique work, but
Yes.
it's all good. Good because very rarely I see people choose topic as such. And I think you've kind of you've made the right thing there because it really aligns, it aligns perfectly with what you're doing and you continue to do for sure. So let's talk about the humanitarian work because you do more than what an average person does, and we're not here to compare anybody. That's not what the show is all about. But the reality is you're one of those individuals that go above and beyond. You do the extra. You reach out to people, you're basically begging, not begging for yourself, but begging for other people, right? Meaning
Yes,
that
sir.
like,
That
so
is correct.
don't misunderstand me here.
No, it's factual. It's factual. I don't want nothing. I want it for society, not for me.
Yes, for sure. So when you do all of this, I believe the eye work and so forth, especially where it is needed a lot and a lot of people are not aware. Those are all great work. And I'm so glad to hear that you get the support from the people. It goes to show that people understand it. It goes to show that people know where the needs are. It goes to show that people understand that when you do good things will follow. You mentioned about karma and whatnot earlier too,
Yeah.
right? So people are learning, so this is awesome. So when is the next? Sorry, you mentioned it earlier. I believe you said April. April is the next.
Yeah. So April the 1st, this
Yeah.
year, is Hanuman Jayanti, which every year, moves with the
Yeah.
moon, right? And the calculations for that, just as we have Shivratri, Ram Navami, Hanuman Jayanti, Krishna Janam, these are all calculated based on moon planetary position. So this year, Wednesday the 1st of April is Hanuman Jayanti. So this year again, the goal, because I'll be 64 this year, I always use that as a milestone. So the minimum set is 640 eye surgeries. Right? We have always surpassed the goal by 100, 150, 200 every single year for 5 years. So far, we have given and donated under the banner of the Hanuman Mission, Doc, 3,700 eye surgeries, which means 3,700 people in Bangalore, India, would have received an eye surgery from cataract, glaucoma, minor corrective, the full works, free.
And how would cost? Like if somebody wants to support it is what I meant. Like what will be like a minimum contribution? I know anything is
so
better than nothing.
Sponsorship,
yeah.
They go by sponsorship. So
Yeah.
a sponsorship to the Shankar Eye Hospital and Foundation in USA, California was 30 US. So we converted that into Canadian at the time, not at the ridiculous rate today, but at that time to about 40 Canadian. So I've kept an eye surgery sponsorship in Canada, 40 Canadian, We
Mhm.
multiplied that by 5 to
Yeah.
Trinidad and made it 200 TT. So people from the US sent 30 US, in Canada, 40 Canadian, in Trinidad, 200 TT. The money goes directly into our account, CIBC, the Hanuman Mission, and it's wired directly through CIBC into the Shankaraya Hospital Foundation account, and everything is above board, everything is vettable, everything is public, everything is visible. There is no middleman, there's no profit sharing, there's nothing. Every single cent we get goes directly to that. So for this year, as you asked, for April 1st, sometime at the beginning of the first, somewhere between the beginning or the middle of February, I will open a program. This year is 2026. I'm probably going to open it for 26 days only. And in that 26 days, either you get in or you didn't get in. And I always believe in karma and intervention. If it's your time to donate, or if you're blessed enough to do it, you will get in.
Mhm.
And this is a turnkey project where the same people, the majority of people, will give money to this project. In fact, Christmas people put away their money to donate for this eye surgery project. So this project now, after 5 years, Doc, 6 years, is actually has worked itself in as a turnkey operation where people make this one of their giving projects for the year, one of the charitable projects if they don't do anything else. So by middle of February to the end of February, first week of March, and then we start sending the money every week. We have to send some money to India because we cannot send all of it. India financial rules and laws, etc. So all
Mhm.
the money is there before April the 1st this year, and all the eye surgeries are done for Sri Hanuman Jayanti. So when millions of people are praying in the temple and singing Hanuman Chalisa, as my prayer room right here, we will be giving 600, 700 people the opportunity to watch Hanumanji, watch a picture, watch a murti, see their family, or even see the Hanuman Chalisa to chant. That is the premise of this particular project. One of the best things ever happened in my life.
Amazing. This is great. So thank you. That's good information you give as well, too. And by the looks of it, the support is there. So,
Yes.
which is a good thing, right? That's awesome.
And this has been a Facebook project, by the way,
Yeah, that's great. That's
completely on
amazing.
Facebook.
So I like how you're using the platform, the Facebook social media platform, for these kinds of positive initiative because we've seen it go the other way too, right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you. No, great. It's amazing. I really appreciate you share that, and I think you also get people thinking as well too because giving it's a beautiful thing. There's no question about that, especially when people can afford it. Certain stage in life people probably feel the need to give more than normal and than usual, especially if the kids are grown and they probably are in a better financial state and so forth, right? So that's a beautiful thing. When we come back, I want to ask you about your not the reason behind it, but I want to ask you your motivation, about your motivation, to continue learning and grow and so forth, because it's
Mhm.
such a beautiful thing. And you're doing that despite the fact that you are, not old. You're still young at heart, but as you mentioned earlier, you're kind of slowly getting to
Yep.
that senior retirement age, so to speak. But you have no sign of slowing down when it comes to the
None, 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 none.
humanitarian work, for sure. So I want you to respond to that. But before we do that, I would like to remind folks that they're watching and listening the Dr. Narine Show. I want everybody to know as well too that in a few months the Dr. Narine Show will look very, very different. So something to keep an eye out for. I want to so quickly say hello to a few people here. I want to give a special hello to John from Queens. Thank you so much for taking a sneak peek, always supporting what we do. Special thanks to Leon for really supporting us as well. So we appreciate that. Ken Ramprasad, thank you so much. Ken also does a lot of humanitarian work, does it with passion. He has his own radio show as well too. So he has many ways to connect with people and whatnot, which is great. Stella, thank you so much. Do know we appreciate you. And everybody else, you will have to forgive me here. I'm not able to see everybody. I'm not able to see everybody right away. That's how it is set up here. But I should also say hello to Bhavesh watching all the way from Guyana. And Davy Style Store. I will have to visit you sometime, Davy. When I visit Minnesota, trust me on this, and I will be looking looking for you folks and visit you guys. I want you folks to know that. I hopefully I can connect with your husband. We both attended the Namaskar for Krishna Mandir in our earlier days and whatnot. It would be nice to connect with you folks. But thank you for taking the sneak peek, and thanks for watching. Yes, so learning, I personally, for me, and I'm only speaking for myself here, I think that, we are in a good place in life where things have changed, especially with social media, where, technology, things are more accessible now, right? We do not necessarily have to travel far away to be in a physical space to complete a degree anymore. We can do it
Yeah.
in so many different ways and styles and options, which is a good thing. I notice that you continue to learn, wanting to learn, and for me, it's a good thing. But I want to hear from you. Like, where does the motivation come from for you to kind of continue to learn and grow so that you can be a better version of you?
So, um, I believe, Doc, when I started this, and I started this from ground zero, if that's a phrase I can use, right? I registered Hanuman Mission. I started Hanuman Mission with a vision to make a difference. As my wife would say, one step at a time, one verse at a time, one cause at
Mhm,
a time. In other
mhm,
words, don't do the same thing everybody's doing.
mhm,
Don't try to repeat what everybody has done or is doing or are doing. Make a niche for yourself. And this is what I have been saying to myself. How do you make a niche for yourself? You cannot preach what you don't practice, and you cannot practice what you don't preach. You're supposed to preach what you practice, and you're supposed to practice what you preach. This is a fundamental tenet and doctrine of Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism as we know it. In other words, if I say I'm doing this, then, and I know you're a guy of quality assurance background through your
mhm, mhm,
education, etc. ISO 9000 say as you do as you say, and show me. Those are I was an ISO 9000 auditor. The
mhm,
thing is, if you want to do something, I believe, this is just my belief, I could be wrong. I believe that you must be ably educated and qualified to try and do something or lecture about something or teach people. If I come on Dr. Narine Dat Show and I want to tell Dr. Narine Dat
mhm,
about psychotherapy, and that is his background, unless I'm ably qualified or educated somewhere to understand that, I can come and lecture a man who is qualified with a PhD in that.
mhm,
And that's what we see a lot of today. Many people want to be scholars, but nobody wants to make the sacrifice to become a scholar. And I always believe, under the banner of the Hanuman Mission, anything that we do, anything that we practice, anything that we preach, or any service that we deliver, I firstly must put my head on the block. I must be qualified. I must be licensed. I must be registered, or I must have that skill to do it. I have become the guinea pig for it because as I said, you see this logo, I take this logo serious. And when Hanuman Mission speaks, our TV program on Saturday morning, by the way, Doc, between 8 and 8:30 on Bell, Rogers, IP boxes, etc., it's called Voice of the Hanuman Mission. Is shown on Masala TV window for half an hour. And that means when we speak, I speak with that voice, the voice of the Hanuman Mission. So I must be educated. I
mhm,
must be knowledgeable. And I must have the background to talk what I talk. And when
mhm,
I speak from my head, from my knowledge. I usually don't take a book or read a paper, nothing. When I come to talk, I talk from my heart and my soul. So to do that, you have to continuously educate yourself. And I just finished 2 weeks ago. I got certificate. I know you commented and I saw it. I did Akashic board predictions. I did crystal healing course. Back in November, I finished tarot card reading, Akashic predictions. For since 2024 and 25, I have done so much of work, and the sacrifices you have to do it here in the morning because you have to connect with India in the night. That's when the time they're doing is 7, 8 o'clock after dinner, right? That's 7, 8, 5 in the morning,
mhm,
sometime 10 o'clock or whatever. the whole reason for becoming educated or want to continue to become educated, I don't believe just an empty tank delivers no water. In Trinidad, we say, or Guyana, I don't know what you say, but if a tank can have water, you can't get nothing, right? So if I am not educated, how can I educate
Yeah,
somebody else?
yeah.
And that is a driving factor behind a little bit of Trini balance, Caribbean balance there, but that's basically what has driven me to continuously improve my life.
Excellent. Yeah. So I usually say what we usually say here. I usually say that we really cannot feed off an empty bucket,
Yeah,
meaning that
correct.
we ourselves have to be educated as well too before we can give those knowledge as well too, right? Kind of similar idea
That's
kind
right.
of thing. Yeah, yeah. But
And
thank you for that.
if I may just add
Yeah.
to the audience, we both you and I, both caring doctors, both in humanitarian work, both in community work, we have traversed a similar path of sorts for the work that we have done over the years.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of sacrifice from your family, takes a lot of sacrifice from your personal life, etc. And like yourself, we continue to educate, study, research, and do. And that never stops. And I don't think until I hit 85 or 90, I don't think it's going to stop.
Excellent. Awesome. So I have somebody here, the Minnesota people, Davy Style Store, here. I'm just reading the name on the
Uh,
Facebook here. They like your project, the human the eye project kind of thing. And so um so that's a good thing, so that's something they would like to kind of hopefully contribute to, as they're saying
so
here. It's a
if I
good.
may say Ram Ram Sitaram and good evening, Devi and family, and doctor see about your husband and Mandir and all that. I'm sure he will provide a contact, but you could just look up Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee or Hanuman Mission page. It's sharing the feed live right now, and there's many people from the US doc who contribute to this project. So thank you, Devi and family in advance. Please share the word. Um, and contact me, and I'll be happy to bring you on board and share the information. And thank you, Dr. Narine Dat, for helping spread that word.
So Davy, that same Davy person, I hope you don't mind me call you by your name here, Davy, but it's become a Canadian thing now, we call people by their name. But anyways, they are very connected to temples and so forth.
Mhm.
And they're very connected um, very connected. So, they even the kids, despite the fact that the kids
Right.
are born over here and whatnot, I can see all of them are engaging into the singing and the curtain piece and playing instruments and so forth, which can be tough to do for some people, but they've done a good job. Both parents, they've done a good job
Yes.
to kind of make sure they kind of keep that culture growing that way. One of the things that resonate with me with the project, though, in my younger days, believe it or not, I used to work at LensCraft in the lab doing the eyeglasses.
Right.
Right. And so I kind of I kind of felt connected there. Um and they one of the technician there, this is like as a student, like
Yes. Yes.
right. Yeah, I was young and I was
We
doing
have to
that
do what we have to do.
right. And so I was and actually kind of enjoy that, I'm doing it. But anyways, there was one lady, when people come to get the glasses, she will collect like the used frames,
Yes.
and she will kind of do like a little give it basically to people who cannot afford to purchase it. And so sometimes it could be out of Canada, like out of the country, where they send,
Mhm.
a bunch
A
of,
lot of it goes to
like
South
good
America,
frames I'm talking about. It's
Latin
just.
America, South America, I believe.
Yes,
What
good
it goes to.
frames. It's just that
Yeah.
people probably don't want it anymore. Maybe they buy newer ones, because as you would know, here in Canada, I don't know about the States, but in Canada, many people have coverage for like eyeglasses and things of
Yes.
that sort. So people go and switch back and forth. So I have tons of different glasses, different color, and all of that, and I'm blessed that way. Anytime I see those extra glasses, honestly, it always reminds me of that lady who used to collect those frames. To kind of give it to somebody else who can benefit from it. So good project here. I really like this. I think these are the kind of project that you're doing. It really has like a higher meaning to it. Think about that. We're talking about somebody's vision here, right?
Absolutely.
And the coffee, and the coffee drinker people, they spend a lot of money on coffee, and coffee is no longer 99 cents, you know what I mean?
No, it's $2.
And
$2
so
for
I
one
think
cup. Mm.
Exactly. So if people sacrifice that way, you'll be amazed to know the impact it has. So I hope that you have the strength, honestly. I hope that you have the strength. I hope that you have the motivation to continue to do these kinds of projects because all of us have to, if all of us do, little things, the impact will be big, right? But we have to continue to do that. So that's awesome. And the fact that you have the support is just fantastic. That's awesome.
So thank you for that, and thank you, Davy, and we will connect. But Doc, I just want to say something. Or many of us came from a Hindu background. I
Mhm.
mean, many of us. There we have Muslim friends, Christian friends, etc. Many of us came from a Hindu background. And the same vision, we went to Trinidad 11 years ago to launch Hanuman Mission, and the vision for wheelchair and a wheelchair project came up. And the numbers, as again I said to you, 11. And everything
Mhm.
I do is 11.
Mhm.
And we went to Trinidad, and one of my family friends here, the Gomes family, Cindy Gomes, the late Ian Gomes, died. And that was a full Guyanese family went down with us. She's the director of Hanuman Mission. And we did 11 wheelchair project, donated 11 wheelchairs under the banner of the Hanuman Mission and the launch of Hanuman Mission at the Temple of St. Trinidad. And I made a promise to them that the next one we're going to do was in Guyana. And
Mhm.
by the time we started to plan it and everything else, COVID hit.
Oh.
And we never did. But we did go November 2023. We went to, I believe it's called Strathspey
Mhm.
in Guyana. And that was my first trip to Guyana. And we went and we did the 11 wheelchair donations in Guyana. So those are two international projects as well we did, where we went to two different countries and we donated 11 wheelchairs to 11 needy people from Canada. But I do want to highlight something, if you permit me.
Absolutely.
Last year was 180 years for Indian arrival in Trinidad. And you ask how these projects come.
Mhm.
And for me, I'll be honest to you. I don't know how they come. I just get a vision. I just get marching orders. I just get this flash
Mhm.
from Sri Hanumanji and I just take it and I go and he makes the rest happen. And I said, okay, we're going to do something for our ancestors who came from India 180 years ago. So I started talking about going to Bihar and UP, where we came from, and do a water well, something that we could leave a lasting legacy for our ancestors. One of my Guyanese friends who donate to every cause that we do, I'll leave it nameless, came up to me and said, but Panditji, you cannot leave out Guyana from this. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, Guyana had migrants too, 187 years. I said, that's correct. She said, well, you have to make this 187 years Guyana and 180 years Trinidad. And that is the project you go in India for. And that is the project I went to India for in November, Doc. And we did a water well in the state of Bihar, representing Guyana and Trinidad, 180 and 187, sorry, and 180 respectively. And every single day, since then to now, over 300 to 400 people benefit from a fresh water supply that was dug 180 feet deep. Ironically, when they reached 180, they couldn't go more. It was too much water. And that
Mhm.
was the amount of years in Trinidad. So the Lord puts divine intervention in place for us to follow. And Ganesh Jayanti, quickly, we do a kids orphanage feeding program around the world. Last year, or the year before, sorry, we gave to 11 countries where only kids orphanage we give money to feed kids on Ganesh Jayanti Day. So Hanuman Jayanti and Ganesh Jayanti, those are the two major projects that we do. And the next one I want to do, 11 wheelchair project in Suriname. So Davy could be the coordinator from USI to help make that happen. We've been hired, Davy, for volunteering.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk about um, recognition and things of that sort. In in my view of things, it is important sometimes for us to kind of pause a little bit and kind of celebrate things as we go along, right? It's
Yes,
important. I personally try to incorporate that into even in my workplace where I make sure that staff feel appreciated and things of that sort. For me, it's a beautiful thing, right? And
it
stuff of
is.
that sort. I have been on that receiving end as well too, and I know and understand what what it does for me as an individual, things of that sort. People don't do it for these things, but it happens when you get to a certain point in life. That's just how it is, and
Yes.
it's part of karma too, probably, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's predestined. Predestined.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, I mean, you will receive some really high-end or honors, including the Ontario Medal for Good Citizenship and things of that sort, which is very unique and special. And a lot of people wouldn't know because when you receive an honor as such, you have the privilege to use the initial behind your name and
OMC.
so forth, or
OMC.
carry, yeah, it
Yes.
carries so people know what it means and so forth. So people who follow these things will know. So it's very different than the other, community awards and so forth, because this is from the government.
Yes.
Tell me about, give me some highlights of some of the, the most prestigious awards that you've received. What does it, not necessarily mean to you per se, but what was it for? Could it, was it for like a specific project per se, things of that sort? So this is an open question. Take it as you see fitting for you.
So first of all, let me tell the audience who viewing this and who will view this, the host of this program, Dr. Narine Dat himself, has a long. My hands are out of the screen. He has such a long list of awards and medals that he has also received. And Doc, I want to pause and say congratulations to you first of all for doing the work that you do and for the amount of recognitions that you have received. God bless you and keep doing yeoman's duty. For me, I could tell you the work that I do is not to get an award. The work that I do is not because of recognition. The work that I do is because of the blessings from Sri Hanumanji. And if one thing I'll take credit for is the fact that I was truly blessed by him to be given the amount of tasks that I have been given and to be protected by him to ensure that every single one of those tasks have been completed successfully. I knock wood here and I can tell you there hasn't been a single task undertaken by the Hanuman mission, undertaken by Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee in the name of Sri Hanumanji that has failed yet. Never. Because when I started this organization, I told him, I will serve him until I die, but I never ever want to fail. And if he wants me to be his messenger, or he wants me to be that devotee, or he wants to use me, I want him to always protect me in that circle, spiritual circle, protect the ashram, Hanuman ashram right behind me, and protect my family. Because you and I know in public life, not everybody smile at you is a supporter. We know how that works. And having said that, I received the first major medal I received was the Governor General Caring Canadian Award, which was an award you get across Canada. I was one of 13 people. Eventually, that was changed into the Sovereign's Medal for Volunteerism, and I got that medal. Then I got the Ontario Medal for Good Citizenship, which I know you also a recipient. As I said, congratulations to you. And both you and I carry OMC, Ontario Medal for Good Citizenship, behind our name. And last July, I got the King Charles Coronation Medal. So I have 3 of those medals here, from 2 from Canada and I guess 1 from the King in England, which Canada is part of that whole monarchy system. But having said all of those things, Doc, I think one of the greatest pride in anything I received ever was the Mahatma Gandhi Pravasi Gold Medal. And that was back in 2012. And I received that at the House of Lords in London, England, from the NRI Society, a welfare society in India. And to have your name written on the same certificate with the name Mahatma Gandhi, and to have Bapuji's or the late Mahatma Gandhi photo on your certificate with your name is priceless. I don't know if I could even explain what that means. I wear 3 medals. I got one, a medallion from India, but just to have your name on the same paper with Mahatma Gandhi and have his photo next to your name where it says Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee, Pravasi Gold Medal, is priceless, unique, and that is my most important gift in life I have gotten for the humanitarian work that I did. I received the Nelson Mandela medal for humanitarian management. I received the Hind Ratan Award, which is the Jewel of India. I received the other award from India, the Honor Sword Award last year. I received in England when I went there. As you know, I got the special humanitarian special recognition from Caribbean Global Awards. You were at some point connected with that organization as well, or a recipient, or whatever the case might be appropriately. I received that special recognition. And while I was there was a Global Health Ambassador Award, which I made a presentation for. So yes, we get all these awards because people see the work that you have done. Same as I was asked to provide a thesis for India. Tell your story. People are baffled. How can you do it as a trainee or a Guyanese? And in India, we can't have that kind of dedication, as they put it, not me, as they put it at the Hindu University. So we take the motivation from our dharma, the blessings of our parents, the support of our family, who we sacrifice the biggest, and the guidance of God. In my case, it's Sri Hanumanji. And I do all of these things successfully with his blessing only. I don't pay attention to anybody except him. I take his guidance and I march forward. If I fail, which we all have at some point, we stumble, but we get up, we learn from the mistakes, and we make it better. But I would truly say the best thing happening in my life, other than my family, is the blessings of Sri Hanumanji to make a difference to the world. That is my greatest honor, to be blessed by him.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Let me give a quick hello to Faith, a good friend of mine, former co-worker of mine, who always watch, support, and these folks, when they have things happening and so forth, they never forget me. They always find a way to include me in whatnot. They did a birthday thing for him not too long ago, and their wife and him and whatnot. They thought of me, invited me, and I went because the fact that they thought of me to invite me, I felt that it was important to be there. So I hope you're doing well there, Sace. Hope you and the family are doing well. So, I mean, you are going strong, and there's no sign of slowing down, and you're doing important work, so it's important to continue on. Where do you see yourself? And I'm not, I don't want it to sound like you are in a job interview here, but I usually ask job seekers this question, because if I hire them, I want them to stay. But generally speaking, like if you were to visualize, yourself, where do you see yourself like 4 to 5 years from now?
So April and 9th, I'll be 64. We start from that point. Put a stake there. 4 years ago, when I turned 60, it was just at the first year, I think, out of COVID, pretty much a year and a half. So I really didn't have a 60th birthday celebration, other than home, and my family, my wife and 2 kids bought me a SUV for my 60th birthday. That was my celebration. And I spoke to my Lord when I did my puja, and I said, I want to live until 85. I want 25 years for my birthday gift, my 60th birthday gift. But I want 25 solid, healthy years. In other words, I will serve you wholeheartedly as I believe I do today, globally. But I want to be protected. I want the haters out. I want the blinders on. And I want to do your work with your guidance, your blessings, your vision, your intervention. I said 85, which was 25 years. Many of the people, Trini and Guyanese, Indians, etc., Fiji people, all who watch the program and benefit from what we do, keep saying, Mahantji, you have too much to do, that you're going nowhere at 85. You have to make 90 for sure. So the blessings of people seem to have extended my wish for my birthday by 5 more years. So a lot of people are praying and wishing and hoping and have blessed me to see 90. And I said, okay, if he has to give me 90, I want it at 90 strong. So I can do what I have to do. There's no point, I'm here, and I cannot make the difference, right? But to answer your question for the future, next year I'll be 65, Doc. And what I've always wanted as an immigrant to this country was to help immigrants like you. And we have a certain common thread in some of the community humanitarian work that we do, helping the less fortunate, helping the immigrant community, helping that integration, etc. And this is what I've done under the banner of the Hanuman Mission, help elevate the lives of people. But 2 things I've always wanted, one more than the other. I've always wanted an old age home for Trini, Guyanese people, etc., Caribbean people. I've seen too much.
Mhm.
I've seen as a Hindu priest, as a child, as a member of our community, I've seen too much problems with parental, children, siblings. You know better than me. The kind of thing goes on in the Trini Guyanese community with old age people, younger people, the parents, and all those things. We always see putting your parents in an old age home as a taboo. It's not part of weeding, so to speak. And it has always been, I have counseled so many families where they have to make that decision to put their parents in an old age home, as we call it, or seniors home, because they're physically unable to do it. And I've always said, if I ever win the lottery or if I come into money or somebody say, Mahantji, here's the money. What it is, one project you want to do. Anybody listening, if you have money, one project is to have an old age home where our old people, our heritage people, can live and die in dignity. I will do that before building a mandir. I will build an old age home before I build a Hanuman temple because I believe that is more important to me. You could pray anywhere in the world. You could pray without a temple. We have done it. COVID has taught us the only thing that mattered was humanitarian service. You know better than me, Doc. The world was shut down. Temples, preachers, imams couldn't say a word. Everybody's mouth was blocked with a mask. Doors of religious places were closed. But what was required? Support for humanity, support for community, support for elders. And if ever I have the opportunity, and I'm hoping I do get it before I die, is to build an old age home where all Indian people from our background can live the rest of their life and die in dignity. And I pray nothing more that I get the blessing to do that. In addition to that, continue my religious work. I do marriage counseling. I do marriage officiant work, as you know, Panditai work. Haven't been to Minnesota with Davy. Maybe one of these days you and I will go down. We'll do a Hanuman chanting session in Minnesota. Been to Florida, been to US, been all over the US, Guyana, all over. And we do the spiritual work that Sri Hanumanji wants. And I want to continue that until the last day. I want to do the spiritual and religious work until the last day I have it. I do a lot of work with sick people, a lot of clergy work, hospitals and home for the aged and people home, people sick. My model is more humanitarian based. It's religious but humanitarian based because Sri Hanumanji, for those who are looking, Sri Hanumanji wasn't one who sat one place. He was a doer, an actioner, a performer, one who got the job done. So if you have to be a Hanumanji devotee and you have to be a service of Sri Hanumanji, you have to be moving, you have to be making a difference, you have to be churning, and you have to show that you have now touched the life of somebody, which is what he did, and that is his model. And I emblem my life and by my life, and I model my life with him being my mentor to do that. So 5, 10 years or the other 20, how much I have, is to make a difference to humanity bigger than I have done or in a higher way than I'm doing now. But one of my major agenda is to see an old age home built and a medical facility provided somewhere where people who cannot afford drugs, especially in our communities, etc., old people and all that, neglected by their children and all that, how we can help them live with dignity and die with dignity. That is something I beg daily for, and I hope the Lord grants me that privilege.
All right, thank you so much for that. I mean, I agree with you. And again, we all have our own different opinion, and that's fine. I think humanitarian work is important, and I like how you openly share that you see to be more important than some of the things that you talked about. And so I'm gonna leave that as that. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. You probably wouldn't. I'm not sure if I shared this with you, but in my earlier days as a teen growing up, I used to be an assistant Hindu priest.
No, that's news to
Uh,
me.
sorry. Oh
That's
yeah, yeah.
news to me.
Yes. Oh really? Oh, maybe we talk too much about different things and we
That's
never
right.
get to talk about
That's
that.
right. That's
So
right.
I grew up, going to temples on a regular basis and so forth, very dedicated, and so forth. But I think because what happened, I used to read the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
on an ongoing basis and so forth and whatnot, and I learned very quickly that I can do more through humanitarian pieces. And that's one of the reasons, as having a social work background, I feel blessed that I do what I love and get paid for it, right?
Right.
Because I serve in different ways underprivileged people as a profession, government funded programs and so forth. I mean, I do my own individual stuff,
Yeah.
which is unmatched kind of thing. But for me, I would rather feed somebody who's hungry
Yep.
rather than you know, kind of ignore that situation. And the reason for that is because I'm not sure if I read it somewhere, if pundits and whatnot may have shared like certain stories, but I always had it in my mind and I believe this personally. I believe that if God is all powerful, then He can come to me in different form, shape, and form, and I wouldn't even know. So I always have in my head that maybe because I usually, in the past I've prayed and said, I want to see what you look like. So in my head, I'm thinking, what if God come to me in the form of a homeless man, for example? You know what I mean? Right. So I have to be prepared to acknowledge all of that and not to judge people. And one thing I'm happy to share is that I have good skill set to make sure I'm not judging people because for me, if somebody's on the road and if they ask me for a dollar, I either give them that dollar wholeheartedly and they can decide what they want to do with that dollar. That is my kind of mentality. And if I choose not to give them because I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, they will take this money and they'll do whatever with it, right? Then maybe I should not give it to them. But for me, if somebody present themselves to me as a beggar, right? And they're asking me money to be
Yeah.
specific. I will I will do that, and it's up to them. And I have to share this if that's okay with you, because this is your
Yep.
space. I used to work in the downtown area in Kitchener, and during lunchtime I kind of step out because the nature of the work we do, you need that mental break. So
Yeah.
I just kind of step out, and there was a homeless man. I don't like to use the word beggar, but a homeless man came to me and did ask me for a dollar.
Hmm.
And I said to him that, um, let's go and have like lunch together. So I'm pointing to him like an expensive place so that we can go together. And he told me no, that he's a vegan. At that I'm a vegetarian now, but at that time I was not a vegetarian. So I came home and I said to myself that I'm in a better position in terms of access to, some material things and
Yeah.
money and job and so forth, and I can do more things than him. And I started questioning myself. I said to myself, like, like maybe this is telling me something. So said to my wife that, look, I want to be vegetarian. You know what I mean? That maybe this is the time because I attempted it, earlier in the earlier days in Guyana. So I went back and forth with it. And then I coincidentally went to Washington and I met a black lady, a Christian lady, and the lady had a conversation with me. And there were a lot of food, I went for an awards event, and the lady said to me that people should be vegetarian, they should not be eating meat and so forth. And I connect that with this homeless people. So my point is that you never know who you can learn things from, eh? So
Yeah.
whether that be the homeless and so forth. And so I like that kind of aspect. If let's say I didn't pay attention to that individual, and I just bypass, I don't think my life would have been the same. So and all of this I learned as I was, as I read the Bhagavad Gita, attend temples, because usually for me when I go to these temples, I go to, to listen, to learn and so forth. So I really paid good attention to when the pundits and so forth are speaking and quoting, from the scriptures and so forth. I used to take a pencil and paper. I used to make notes as a young individual. Eh? But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you. So I like what you said, and I hope a lot more people think that way. So
See,
in my view, you're on the right track, but go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna say, we all experience that, and two things I want to say, so I don't lose it with to share it with you. One
Mhm,
is that at some point in our lives, when we're younger and we're more
mhm,
aggressive and all that, we tend to judge, and we all do, and I was guilty of that as well. And if I go and I see a homeless or as we say
mhm,
beggar or whatever, and they ask money, first thing you say, well, I'm not going to give him, you buy alcohol, buy drugs, buy
mhm.
whatever, right? And one day somebody was talking to me, and I don't know if it was my pundit or who, and they say, your job is to give the money.
Yeah.
Your job is not to judge.
Mhm,
If you give it in good faith and he or she buys drugs, buy alcohol, well, that's not your business. That's their business. And then I started to change my life because that was a lesson for me that registered.
Mm-hmm.
Do not judge, give, you have to give. And if you don't want to give it, don't give it.
That's
But
right.
do not judge. And you will notice better, and many of the people who are looking at this program will know. And if you don't know, I'm going to give you a test today.
Mm-hmm.
If you give a beggar or a homeless person, anyway, they see you begging, good morning, good evening, whatever they say, can I have some spare change or can I have money for a car? If you give them money, they will tell you, thank you. They will tell you, thank you. Have a nice day, whatever. But if you give a hungry person money, they will tell you, thank you, but they will always say, God bless you. Remember that, and Doc, you can try it too. Next time you give somebody hungry person, they will always finish their phrase with God bless you. And the blessings that you get from service of food, they say the hands that serves are greater than the hands that pray. You could pray from now until thy kingdom come. And as I said earlier, if people are hungry and people are dying and people are suffering, they don't need prayer. Not as the first. They need food as the first. They need water as the second. They need prayer as the third. Right? But what I really wanted to tell you was all of us go through some phase in our life where we judge. And I had one case in my life, about 18, 19 years old, where I made a judgment. And I was wrong. And that was the greatest learning tool that I've ever gotten. And my wife has always said, you wish you could be in the position to meet that man again. And I'll just, if you permit me a minute, I can share. I went to my godfather's, my guru's home. They had a Devi year going on during Navrat, and I had a terrible headache. And my mother was just in a hospital. I think I was 19, 20 or something like that. Major surgery my mother had. And she was in hospital. A young boy, very emotional. And I went with some family friends. I told them I needed prayer. So they said, okay, Baba will come. In Trinidad, we say Baba, meaning Pandit. And he, Baba will come and do it. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and my godfather is not coming, my guru. And eventually I saw this man coming, and they said, okay, Baba, send this Pandit to do. And physically, he was a very thin, tall Pandit, really thin and tall. And I looked at him to myself privately. I didn't say this publicly. And I said to him, what he can do. In Trinity style, I said, what he going to do? And you got upset already because your guru didn't come to Jari, as they say, Jari. He didn't come to Jari. Somebody else came. And I thought, what this man could do for me. I wanted my godfather. And the man said, sit on a chair. And as the man sit on a chair, he put his hand like this and he started pulling from my forehead like this. And every time the man pulled, I felt one of me came out. A shadow came out. And when I was finished at that age, I was too young and too stupid and too uneducated to understand the teaching tool that I got. A, don't judge. And B, as you said, you don't know when God will come. And the message was, I always wanted to be a healer. I always wanted to become a person that could heal and help people from trial, tribulation, sickness. And most of my life, since I entered this path, has been working with the sick, the downtrodden, and humanitarian causes. I do more healing and praying work than I do religious work. I've been sitting and praying, but it's a combination. I do both. And that is something I learned. And I always say, I wish if for 1 minute I could see this Pandit again to tell him thank you for teaching me what it is to be non-judgmental and teaching me what it is to be a healer. Because by him putting his hand on me, I realized I got a gift from God which I never understood. The ability to be like that man. I've never seen him again. He's probably long dead. I'm in Canada 41 years. But that lesson stayed with me, and that has modeled my life to heal people. And that is what I do. And to answer your question again, that is what I want to continue doing to the last day I have breath in this body to serve Sri Hanumanji, to work with humanitarian causes, to work with humanity and make a difference to the lives of people. That includes prayer, but it includes more humanitarian service. And that is my life.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you, and I know this this is a separate show here, but I want your general response to this. And the question is, do you believe in reincarnation at all?
Absolutely, 100%. Because, and if we could extend it to say every religion or every religious belief, every faith has some form of perspective on reincarnation. They may call it something else. They might call it rise again. They might call it come back, manifestation, whatever. But everybody has a belief that something happens. So we believe there's life after death. Human beings have that persona that something happens after death. They say dead man tell no tales.
Mhm.
But many people whose family are deceased or whose, as we say, families are dead, still come and talk to them, still come and give them a message, still come and guide them. And many people who are watching will say their family, their grandparents, their parents are always guiding them. They still have that belief. Reincarnation, as we say, before I came to do the program, I was dressed differently. I came on your program, I dressed differently. When I finish, I will be dressed differently. Life and death is flip side of each other. Reincarnation is when that purpose of that life is over, we shed the clothes of the body. We shed the body. Clothes of the body is symbolic, right? We shed that body. The soul continues into another body. And based on our karma and our karmic action, or what we say karma kepal, the fruits of our karma, we are then born or reborn into that new life, or we become that new ideal human being or animal or whatever. And that is what we believe in. So in the life that we have today, we pray and hope. Many people want to come back into this human life. I could say it right here on record. I don't want to come back here. I have no intention of coming back in it. I want to go upstairs. Upstairs is I want to be received by the Lord. I try my best every day, Doc, to do something that's good for myself, for my family, for Hinduism, for society, for humanity, to make a difference, burn out the bad karma. So when that time, whatever reincarnation is, I want to go upstairs. I want to be, when we go to a funeral, we always say in Facebook something, well, may the soul attain moksha. And, we say all these things. We pray for that. But that is something that we have to earn. And we have to earn that. So if we have to be reincarnated into a human body or another living species, we hope and pray it's something that's doable. But really and truly, our ultimate goal is to attain moksha or salvation, to merge with God. And that's what I'm hoping the rest of my life could allow me to do. So yes, I do believe in it.
So, and again, this is just a conversation here.
Oh, that's fine.
So you mentioned that this is something that people have to earn, and I agree with you 100% that
Yes.
you have to earn that with your own consciousness, your own will, your own hands, all
Yep.
of that. So, and I don't know any better way to ask it, so I'm going to ask you very bluntly. So why is it that people do all of these things with the hope that that soul have that moksha, as you mentioned it.
So the ultimate goal,
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate goal for most people, I won't say all because I know some people that would
Mm-hmm.
say, no, I didn't get to finish everything. I want to come back and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But we can determine that,
That's right. Yeah.
right? They said 2 times in life, 2 times a call in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Time of birth, time of death. None of us get to call it. We don't get to call it time of birth. We don't get to call it time of death. Somebody else does. When the time of birth is called, a window is open. And when the time of death is called, another window is open. Those two windows, inside of that windows is called life. Start and finish. We have no choice. We cannot do anything about it except live a good life in that window from beginning to end. Work that you do, work that I do, work that many other people doing to uplift society, etc. And this is what they're hoping and praying, that they can make a difference to society. All of us create bad karma daily by doing something, by saying something. It may be interpreted wrongly, etc. Some of us bluntly do wrong things. Some of us do things that good intention, but may earn negativity. So we pray and hope that the bad karma that we build is destroyed. And that will help us move into the path of salvation or moksha. It will help us move into the path of either reincarnation, coming back in the cycle of birth and death, or aspiring to moksha or salvation, universal connection, and merging with Godhead. That is easier said than done. Millions and millions of people have recycled in this life over and over and over. I might think I'm a religious person and I'm doing good, but the amount of bad in this world that we drown in, the good that we're doing is at the bottom of the barrel. We have so much more to do. And you go to all these funerals and you hear the bhajan, Itna tu karna Swami, Jaba Prane Tan Sanlikale, Govinda Naam Alekar. We're saying at the time of death, oh Lord, allow that name of God to come through this throat. If we don't practice, as you said, Doc, if you don't practice prayer and devotion and kindness and goodness, you don't call the name of God daily. You don't call the name of God regularly. You think at the time of death, that name of God, when your life is coming out, you're going to pass through your throat. It will never happen. That's why we see people on funeral and on hospital beds panting for breath and all that. They're struggling to deal with that because it's difficult. I'm not saying that in a bad sense. I'm saying that in the sense that we have the opportunity. And when we go to funerals and viewings and all that pandits, we preach to people. Nobody wants to hear that then. So the work that we do, you and I and many others, is to help motivate people to live a better life at the end of the day. How do you live a better life for yourself? How do you change your life? And how do you make the life of at least one person in this lifetime better from what they were? I think that is the purpose of life that will help us attain the path to moksha salvation. Help burn the karma that we have accumulated.
Thank you, by the way, for responding to that. Believe it or not,
Hopefully, I did justice to it. I don't know.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I think it's nice to have different people's perspective. I actually end up doing a presentation many, many years ago. I just thought of it on reincarnation, and you will be surprised that how people were interested to listen to my perspective on that and my research
Yes.
in it and so forth. And these are people that don't look like me. They're, from different demographic and,
Yeah.
and different culture and so forth, but they were fascinated by the topic of reincarnation. They
Yep.
wanted to know, like, what does that mean? Is there any sort of connection there, for themselves? And for a lot of people, even though they may have heard, these kinds of
Mhm.
conversation, or at least in that depth for the first time, it was making a lot of sense to them, right? Because it was giving kind of example kind of thing, is that if you do good things now, at some point you will be receiving that back again, right? And things of that
Yes.
sort. So,
And in English we say, "As you sow, so shall you reap." Right?
absolutely,
And
yes.
that is the essence of karma.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term Akashic?
I've heard that before from different.
Yeah, so Akashic Records was something I was told to take a course in. And when I got the précis or the preview or the summary of the course, it's like going back into life, going back into people's past life. And I say, well, hell no. I ain't gonna go back in nobody's life. Why would I want to do that? And I thought this is like hypnotism and all that. So we had a pre-meeting, the doctors in United Arabs, and we had people from around the world on that course. And the thing is, Akashic Records is like the cloud where through certain practice and through certain meditation and a certain fixed process, you are now blessed to go in the cloud into that record. And this is so real. And you go up there in a library. This is all through transcendental meditation. And you could pull up everything for somebody who has been deceased for a long time. And then you realize why some people's lives were what it is or what it was. Why today when we do Jandi and we do Gra Puja and we do Hawan and all these things, so many people are suffering. And then you have to look back at, okay, kind of past practice in the lives, the parents' lives, the family lives, certain things that they do, certain rituals they do, and what the family today is not doing, and why the consequences of those things are coming down. People refusing to do rights when the parents die, when their loved one dies. They do a wedding, they're doing A instead of B and all that. So, the churning of heritage and religion and spirituality in a non-right manner is what's causing most of the problem we have today. And then we blame everything on karma, and we blame everything. You say, well, when I get reincarnated, I will probably get it right the next time. No. Karma will come with you again. So you have to burn
True,
that bad
true.
karma.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I want you to know that I appreciate you here. I appreciate all the responses and all of that. Before I let you go, though, when you're not, doing your professional job, when you're not doing humanitarian work, when you're not doing any, panditai work and so forth, what is it that you do for you as a form of self-care? And so I want to share this with you because I want the viewers and listeners to kind of know the things we do with the hope that they also will be motivated to
Mhm.
kind of do things to better themselves, and whatnot. So believe it or not, I started to go to the gym this year. Right. I've done it, in the past, we do have, system at home and so forth, but that does not work for me. It works well for my wife and so forth. But
Yeah.
for me, I have to drive and go to the gym there. And I really enjoy every minute of it. I really do. And that's just me going there, nobody else, because I'm doing it for me. And all other stuff in between. But I want to
Yeah.
hear from you. What is it that you do for you, where you're saying to yourself, look, at the end of the day, because you mentioned something very interesting earlier, if the barrel or whatever, if it's empty, there's nothing
Empty
there to
tank.
give. Sorry, the empty tank. There you go,
Empty
the
tank
empty
gives no
tank. You
water.
got it. You got it. I love it. Yes, and so at some point in our life, we have to think along that line too. That look, we have to think along the line because for me, um, I always put myself first. And that's how I'm able to do all the things that I do because I'm
Right.
prepared for it mentally and physically and prepared for all the challenges and so forth because I prepare for all of that, right? I want to hear from you. What is it that you do for you? Because from a therapist perspective as well too, and you know all of this, but I want you to hear this all too. It is so important for you to take care of you. So I want to hear from you because it will benefit folks who are listening, watching. What is it that you do for you? Because you
So
do everything else for everybody.
you see, one of the things,
Yeah.
one of the failures, and if I may use the word loosely, and so no Hindu come after me or no Pandit or organizer come after me. One of the failures we have in the Hindu model, unlike the Catholics or the other religions, they have a retreat every year where their practitioners, the reverends and the preachers, they go and they have that me time in a retreat.
Mhm.
And many of them do that. It's a disciplined process as they
Mhm.
have.
Mhm. Mhm.
To my knowledge in Hinduism, we do not have a structure like that. There are different places where people do it.
Mhm.
They get together, the kids camp, and then some people have adult camps and
Mhm.
pandits get together and all that. But we don't have that rigid process to do that.
Mhm.
So how do you get me time? When you have a wife and you have kids, or
Mhm.
you have a
Mhm.
husband and you have kids, you
Mhm.
have parents, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. Time to I studied for a master's degree while I was riding on the GO train. I when my
Mhm.
family is sleeping at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because and you have young
Mhm.
kids,
Mhm.
you cannot do certain things while your family is around.
Mhm.
A, they tell you you're taking up their time,
Yeah.
or B, you need your personal
Mhm.
space for concentration.
Mhm.
I remember riding the GO train and doing my homework. I
Mhm.
remember going on family vacation and writing a PhD thesis on the side of the pool
Mhm.
on a laptop when my family was in the pool. I remember walking or taking TTC, you're going to work and conversing with God. How do I get this vision to do this? Right? My me time, believe it or not, believe it or not, my phone, I send everything to email on my phone. I screenshot it and I save it. I'm always reading. I'm always studying. I'm always learning something new.
Mhm.
That is my me time. Somebody tell me about it. When you go to sleep, your mind's still working. And that is probably true because you go to bed with thinking somebody wants something. We live in this world. Somebody said once, know your limits
Mhm.
because takers have none and you're a giver, you
Mhm.
have no limit. So the point is, if you're a giver, like many of us are, we will give and give and give and do and do and do. And the old people, at least the old trainees used to say, friends will carry you, but they don't bring you back. As long as you have people go take. It's a little trainee thing where as long as you're able to do, as long as you're in your position to give, you will have people waiting to receive. But the day you are unable to give, no, the majority of people who are waiting in line to receive turn around and go to the next person who is willing to give.
Mhm.
Excuse me. It's a simple concept. As long as you can give and do, you know, people are there waiting to receive. But when you cannot give and you cannot do, the line for you is become much shorter. So for me, I enjoy reading.
Mhm.
I enjoy studying. I enjoy learning. I enjoy the opportunity for me, even when my family is watching a movie, Indian or Christmas movie or whatever, I sit there, but my mind is in a spiritual mode. It's different from here.
Mhm.
How do I connect with God more? How do I heal people more? How do I get Siddhi or Bardan or boon from God more? How do I make a difference to humanity more? I'm always thinking how to connect to God more. And that is my me time. How do I do this? And I will round it out like this for you, Doc. When my daughter Arti was 9 years old, I was going to visit hospital. When I started Hanuman Mission, I was doing clergy work. I'll go to visit all the sick people. And I was feeling really sick one day with a cold, flu and thing. And I said, I'm so tired, man. I don't want to go. And my daughter, 9 years old, and that never left me, said, Dad, if you cannot take care of yourself, how can you take care of people? And that was a lesson from a 9-year-old child. And I'm thinking, I'm driving down the Don Valley to go. I went to Princess Margaret Hospital. And I'm praying for people. And I remember my daughter telling me, you have to be in a position where you have to be solid before you can do. And it goes back again to the empty tank. If a tank is empty, you can't serve nobody. If you're unable to do, you cannot do. You cannot make a difference. And that is where it always is. I know you're going to take that one. That's okay. But that is something you always have to, as we say, you have to load yourself before you can unload to people.
I'm laughing because I want to share this story very quickly. So I went to
That's okay. Go ahead.
a religious ceremony, like a Hindu religious ceremony, and so at the end of it all, they do the arti and so forth. And this is true story, you know. And so there was a lady there with a fancy bag, like brand name bag kind of thing. And so like we put our hand in our pocket, we put
Yeah.
our change and we took our arti and so forth. This lady didn't have any money in that bag. So that lady had a fancy brand name bag in her hand. And that lady asked me, oh, you have any change in there? And then like all of us who were there, like we were human beings at the end of the day too, right? We started to kind of laugh, like in a different way. We
Yeah.
said like this lady's carrying this brand name big bag, and she come to this religious function. You know that these things you do
Maybe
from
that's
a
how she was able to buy the bag by not spending the money in puja.
But it comes back to a point that you said about that empty tank, right?
Yes.
And that's how I was able to share that story. So thank you for sharing that with us, thing. So listen, such of a great interview here today. Lots of knowledge you've shared. I mean, you have lots to offer, so we wouldn't be able to share everything on here, but you've done a good job to hammer out things on here. We obviously, a person like yourself, we would be very pleased to kind of have you back and so forth when time permits, for sure. I'm now giving you the opportunity to say any last minute thing you would like to say before we wrap it up. But I want you to know that I recognize that you have a family as well. I recognize that life is busy, but I can also relate to many of the things that you're saying. I'm a thinker, that I can tell
Yeah.
you. There's always I'm thinking. Right? And I think that's okay too. I think it's okay because we are all different. We understand our purpose. And you basically what you're telling us here in a different way. You have a special kind of motivation. A lot of people don't have that, which is a problem because they don't have that drive to do even things for themselves. And look at you. You have the drive. They're doing so many things for so many different people, and we have to commend you for that. Take it away. Any last minute you'd like to say? It's the floor is all yours.
So, first of all, let me thank you for having me. For the viewers here, Dr. Narine Dat and I connected through charity humanitarian work, through the awards process, and that's how names were exchanged, and that's how we connected Facebook. We have not physically met yet, and I am promising you, Doc, until this place's ice disappears and it's warmer, we will meet for lunch or dinner and we'll connect. I promise you that. Give or take around my birthday in April, we'll do that. But God bless you and your family as well, first of all, for continuing to make the sacrifice on all the work that you do, and for having me to share some knowledge and wisdom and exposure to the world. None of us, how I'll wrap this up is, none of us in our lifetime plan the exact position we'll end up in. Some of us have hopes, desires, and wishful thinking where we'd like to go and how we'd like to end up. But if we don't do the things that we need to get there, in other words, quote unquote, if we don't make the sacrifice to get where we want to get, it is not going to drop on our lap on a golden platter. It is not. To get anything and to achieve anything, you have to make the sacrifice, religious, spiritual, or otherwise. We know that. You and I both have done educational work to carry the title doctor, to have the name, the initials OMC behind our names. We have been recognized by the government because of what we do. Somebody just says, feel nice, well, give Narine Dat and give Balliram Chadee a medal and let them call Ontario Medal for Good Citizenship. It's because of the work that we did. Many others have done better work or more work than we did. Some have been rewarded and some are not. The point I'm trying to make is sacrifice is what you need to do or you need to make to get the end results. This is you. This is your ambition. Between you and your ambition, that window is called sacrifice. You got to pay the price. You got to put your head on the ground. As you said, it's Sunday evening. I could have been upstairs with my family. So could you. But here we are exchanging ideas with the world. I thank all who are tuning in, all who will see it, all who gave us of their Sunday evening to pay attention. And I thank all of you for listening to me. My name is Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee. That name is my Facebook name. We have a Facebook page. If I may take a plug, Doc, Hanuman, the Hanuman Mission of Canada and TT is a Facebook page on our charity, and we have another page called World Hanuman Council. You could Google me, Balliram Chadee, Dr. Balliram Chadee, Dr. Chadee, Mahantji Dr Balliram Chadee, Hanuman Mission, and find me. If any of the things that we do, humanitarian or otherwise, religious, spiritual, touch your life in one way or the other, or motivated you, or inspired you, then reach out to me and let me know. You never know. There's a purpose for everything. Our conversation today obviously is a purpose, blessed by God, and to whoever would have benefited from this, I thank you very much. I pray and hope that all of you are blessed, safe, and I would leave it with all of us to be guided by the hands of God in whichever form of God of faith that we relate to, whatever religion we relate to. May we be blessed always, may we be guided always, and maybe we protected always. As we say in Hinduism, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. That's it.
Thank you so much. What a good way to wrap it up. My dear fellow listeners and viewers, as we are officially approaching the end of tonight's program, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Narine Dat Show. On behalf of myself and my very special guest here tonight, Dr. Chadee, both of us would like to join together and wish you a great today and even a better tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon.